Alright, hello everybody, welcome to manfredplusmagic. Today we've got Walker of the Wastes. It is a PEDH deck, so Pauper Commander. I'm going to be honest, this is not the best Pauper Commander deck. Colorless is already fairly hard enough, at least it was. I guess it's easier now, but it used to be pretty hard to figure out a colorless Commander deck, I feel like. And that's kind of what it feels like for this Pauper Commander deck, right? There's just... You're filtering down everything to colorless in Pauper, so there's not much to choose from. So a lot of these I'm going to put into these categories, and they're not exactly peak cards. So there's that. But yeah, Commander is Walker of the Wastes, 4 and a waste. It's a 4/4 trample, and it gets +1/+1 for each land you control named wastes. Every single land in the deck is named waste. There's 37 wastes in the deck, and get this out turn 5. I was testing this earlier today. You can consistently cast this on turn 4 or turn 5, and you can get it. So basically on turn 4 or 5, well, let's say turn 5, right? It costs 5 mana, 5 wastes, right? You get it out turn 5, and all of a sudden, that's probably the biggest thing on the board because it's Pauper Commander, which is, it'll be a 9/9 with trample on the board on turn 5, and an 8/8 on turn 4 if you get it out that early with some of the mana rocks. And it just seems like fun. It's a Voltron deck, right? Just that. So the bread and butter is actually going to be looking for lands in the ramp. But this part, it's Voltron, right? So we're adding some stuff to Walker of the Wastes to make it more of a threat. So a quarter shield, Cathar shield, give it 0, 3, and vigilance, right? Crashing Drawbridge, tap it, give your creatures haste. That's very, very good. Executioner's Hood, equipped creature has Intimidate, so you can get it through a little bit easier, which is actually really good because it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. It doesn't have a color, so it can't be blocked by anything but artifact creatures, which is really cool. Explorer's Scope, whenever it attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's land, put it on the battlefield tapped. Very important. We'll get back to that later. Haunted Cloak is Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. So that's just giving it out to go faster. Hunter's Blowgun, I think, is actually pretty cool. It gets +1/+1, and Death Touch as long as it's your turn. Otherwise, it has Reach. So not on your turn, it'll be able to block those flyers. And Spider Step Net, same thing. We'll be able to block some flyers with Reach. As card draw is real sketch in colorless Pauper. It's just a bunch of artifacts, so basically all the, well, except for Introduction to Prophecies, it's scry 2 draw card, right? It's just the sorcery, but all of these is just enter draw card. Essentially, they're almost all the same. I mean, the enter draw card is roughly the same on all of them, but you know, like they all got separate abilities, like Alchemist's Vial also acts as a target creature can't attack or block this turn, which could be important. Candy Trail lets you scry 2 and then gain life. Found Footage gives you this weird thing that you can look at face down creatures opponents control. That might not happen in Pauper Commander, but you can sacrifice it to Surveil 2 and draw a card, so that's nice. Fountain Port Bell, you can search for a wastes and put it on top, and then you can draw that if you want. Again, there's a lot of things that's going to be putting wastes on top of our library, hence the Explorer's Scope. And the more wastes we have, the bigger our commander gets. Golden Egg, right? Enter draw card, and then you can sacrifice it to gain 3 life because it's a food. And we'll never filter mana in this. I'm just perfectly honest. It's probably not going to happen. But yeah, so you'll just skip that second ability. Ichor Wellspring enters or leaves, or put in the graveyard to draw a card. Lembus, scry 1 then draw, more food, which will gain life. Sky Scanner is just a flyer as a blocker, draws a card. Sleeper Dart, you can freeze something for a turn. Spare Supplies can draw 2 cards, so cool, interesting things that we're very limited to. These are enablers, so like Bladed Pinions. I guess this could go up to the bread and butter too, but this is flying and first strikes. This is an enable our commander to get through a little bit better. Campfire, we can put all our commanders from the command zone or from our graveyard into our hand, and then we shuffle our graveyard into the library. Actually really cool. I feel like this needs to be run more. I should definitely pick up some of these because that's actually it's actually really good. It's a really good thing. Conjurer's Bauble. You can sacrifice it, put one card from our graveyard to the bottom of our library, and then draw a card. So it's just pay one, essentially draw a card, and get something back if we want, right? Scare Tiller. When it becomes tapped, we can put a land from our hand on the battlefield tapped. Since we've got a bunch of lands, and every time I played, I just had a bunch of lands in hand, because that's where our ramp things bring it into our hands. So we'll just have a bunch of lands in our hand, probably. So Scare Tiller can get those out. Same with Walking Atlas. Taps to put one from your hand on the battlefield. It's very important. Finisher. Well, so hold on. So if you do Walking Atlas turn 2, right? By turn 3, you could have 4 mana out, and then you're a little bit ahead of the curve. Anyway, finishers. So we've got Vorak Battle Horns, right? That'll give our creature. It can't be blocked with more than one creature, and it's already got native trample, so it'll just pound right through whatever's out, probably. Whisper Silk Cloak is the best card in here, I think. Creature can't be blocked and has Shroud, which is awesome. I mean, that puts a damper on some of our equipments, but I think we've got enough creatures. There's like 17 creatures in the deck, so you might be able to move it back and forth if you need to get rid of the Shroud. But unblockable is very important for all Voltron commanders. Wings of Hubris gives a creature flying, or give a commander flying, which is already pretty evasive by itself, but if you want to get through even more, you can sacrifice Wings of Hubris and Walker of the Wastes, but then it's unblockable for the turn, so that's pretty cool. I guess you sacrifice them after combat, whatever. At the end step, sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. Flex spots. You've got Lantern of Revealing. There's a mana, the mana rock, and you can pay 4 and tap it. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and if you didn't, you can put it on the bottom. Kind of neat effect. We want to get all the wastes out we can, because their commander will probably be very targeted, and it is not easy to protect. There's one protection spell, as you can see down here. But anyway, Wedding Invitation, same thing. Enters, draw a card, but then you can tap it and sacrifice it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Pretty darn awesome. Yeah, and then protection, right? We got Leather Armor. That's literally all you can put in here because it's colorless. Like, you can't give it protection from anything. You can't give it hexproof. You can give it Shroud with the 1 card, or you can give it Ward 1 with Leather Armor. Just almost no options. It's pretty slim pickings, but this will allow us to at least give it something. Shardless Outlander, just basic land cycling if we need, or it's just a 6/5 trampler if we need later in the game. Golem Foundry, I threw this in here because I was like, well, if nothing's happening, like 57% of our deck is artifacts. So whenever we cast an artifact, we can put a charge counter on it, and then we remove 3 to make a 3/3. So that at least gets us something that can block or attack or whatever, in case our Voltron plan does not pan out. Ramp, there are 19 ramp spells, and this is very loose, because none of these, there's like one of these that actually puts them onto the battlefield. And there's like one other one that's like a rock. Because all of these go to our hand, like I was saying. So this is ramp, right, for this colorless Pauper deck. All of these just search for basics into our hand or onto the top of our library. So there's stuff like Armillary Sphere. Search for basics into our hand. 1 or 2 basics into our hand. Not Armillary Sphere itself, but you get the idea. Campus Guide, when it enters, search for a basic, reveal it, shuffle, and then put on top. A bunch of those types of effects where we put it on top. That's why the Explorer Scope is so good. But also we know we're going to be drawing. We want the wastes anyway. So we'll just constantly have wastes at our disposal. It's basically what's going on. It's like every single thing here searches for something, puts it into our hand. Navigation Orb and Wayfarer's Bauble, of course, put them on the battlefield. But the rest of them is just, you're getting the stuff and you're putting it out. And then Mind Stone, right? That's a mana rock. Pretty nice. A Reska Relic too. We can gain 3 life and draw a card later. but it also taps for mana, and it ascends us. That's the only thing with the City's Blessing, though, so whatever. Anyway, Ominous Parcel too can deal damage to a creature if we want, but it's expensive. Of course, everything is expensive and colorless for those effects. Speaking of which, targeted removal, right? So we got Bumbleblower, Sharepot, Goblin Firebomb, and all these ones. Right, they're basically going to. So Tormod's Crypt Keeper, they exile graveyards. Universal Solvent, Unstable Obelisk, and Scar from Existence get rid of permanents. Oh, and Introduction to Annihilation. Oh, and Goblin Firebomb. Oh, and Bumbleflower Ship. Right, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of mana for these. Like 5 is the lowest. Then they've got 7 mana, right? Because these are commons and colorless, and so they're not exactly efficient at getting rid of stuff. But we can get rid of stuff. Yeah, like I said, this is not the most efficient deck, but you can do it. Yeah, so you can get rid of permanents with some of this stuff. Urn of Godfire gets rid of creature enchantment for 6. Relic of Progenitus, of course, gets rid of graveyard stuff. Same with Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, just kind of silly. But yeah, and then we got 37 wastes down there. So that's the deck. That it's not going to be efficient. Well, actually, that's a lie. It's actually extremely efficient at getting wastes to our hand or to the top of our library. The problem is the rest. The rest of it is not efficient. But I don't know. Maybe that's fine. Maybe you just have a lower level PEH deck group. But anyway, it's a fun experiment. It's pretty cool. I kind of want to build it now because I'm pretty sure I have almost every single one of these cards except like Executioner's Hood somehow. Other than that, I have like every single card in this deck. Oh, I guess not this one. Anyway, some of those weird enchantments that are from one single set, you know. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and make sure you come back next week for your weekly dose of Magic.